Sorry, battery died. So that's Barry Drive. That's the story with the Chinese, the mind control, the chemical spraying, the scalar interference, all that sort of stuff. After that, I became aware of the mass-scale operation of gang stalking. I realised it was a secret society. I didn't know why people were targeted, but I had a guess, because I wouldn't stand down and yes sir, 3 bags full sir kind of attitude like most people do. 980 out of 1,000 being that sort of obedient, disciplinary, fake life. I drove down a freeway in Canberra and there were cars, 8 or 9 sedans, maybe 10, maybe more, driving on the opposite side of the freeway towards me, all one-eyed riding me with their right headlight on. That sort of synchronicity is not an accident, it's not a coincidence. I knew that they were telling me something, they were sending a message. After that, life became unbearable at home. My 3 housemates who are blatantly narcissists all seemed to turn on me, as much as they turned on each other, but to them it was a way of life, this sort of narcissism. So these people are deeply seated with evil and programs above all. To get rid of the programming, you're able to take the evil out of you. I was suffering a near mental breakdown. I couldn't handle it anymore. Got rid of my Land Cruiser, probably the rarest sort of Land Cruiser in Australia. It's a Toyota Arcana HZJ 75 2H inline 6 motor Arcana, which means it was about as long as a small bus. It was a 4-wheel drive and a caravan in one, and it had 160,000 Ks on the motor. It was worth gold. I couldn't handle it anymore. I could barely even feed myself because of my mental capacity was just breached with all this insanity. I moved out. I nestled into a quiet location. Life started getting good again, and then my landlord, who owns the apartment, who is blatantly homosexual and also a perp, kicked me out because he didn't like me having a girlfriend. That's when his heart got broken and he decided to kick me out. He made up a lie, but I said, yeah, whatever, no worries. At the same time, my car was targeted by Sudanese youths anyway. Came and smashed up my car in my street, and luckily the neighbourhood was Air Force sort of neighbourhood. All the residents were Air Force, so about 4 or 5 fit blokes came out of the street ready to go on, so they got out of there. But being targeted, having nothing left to gain, not being able to obtain any work, I sold my scaffold. I left most of my stuff there. I left my whole life there. $15,000 merino wool mattress, blah blah blah. Hightailed it back to Alice Springs, tried to get work in Mildura, places on the way, realised I was gang stalked anywhere I went. I'd have couples pull up to me in prestige cars when I'm in the middle of nowhere, frying up some spuds and some snags, calling me a poofter and all of this sort of stuff. Not to my face, just saying it to their missus and just saying it so I can hear it. And they're right close to me when there's a vast landscape of empty areas and beautiful scenery. They can be anywhere, but they're right next to me. Got to Alice Springs, got some work. The planes, in my other video, are getting buzzed by planes between 4 and 10 times a day, helicopters, you name it. Then the attack started to come. There's a video on my YouTube channel, directional directed energy weapons used against me and how to detect an attack. That night I was in absolute agony. The blood in my head was boiling. My poor 20-year-old cat getting tortured. These pieces of shit do not care. The more pain they cause, the better. So I get up. I'm feeling sick. I'm up all night. I go to have a drink from the kitchen tap. A black sedan goes past me and I see something out the left passenger side window. Even though it's at night time or 4 in the morning, I can see it. There's a box with a circular object in it, and it goes from a very high pitch to a very low pitched audible frequency, very loud, very quickly. Woo, 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 woo. I bend over and I nearly throw up. I'm holding my stomach. There was the another directed energy attack. Sleeping in the living room. Suddenly I wake up. After 2 hours sleep, they plan this, as they always do. There were 2 ambulance officers, 4 policemen, and 1 or 2 mental health staff there. I'm rooted. So I just ignore them. I make a coffee, I have a cigarette. I'm still not there yet. I start recording with this camera I've got recording now. I start recording them, and then they tell me, let's go. I say, I don't have to go with you. What am I being falsely imprisoned for? They said that it was under the guise of a concerned friend. They need to bring me in and assess me at a mental health unit. This concerned friend had came around 4 days before. Hadn't seen him in 7 years or something, 5 years maybe. He came around and for a cup of tea at 7 o'clock at night and abused my mum and abused me and then fucked off into the night. This guy is a psychiatrist, so all they need is a psychiatrist to come into your life and refer you to mental health. I didn't argue, but I went into the mental health unit, absolutely rooted, with my camera. They wanted to interrogate me in a room which had about 40 fluoros. The whole room was fluorescent light. I said, no, we're going to go outside. So we went outside where they had some optical elusive kind of a grill with another grill behind it. So depending on where you move in that outdoor area, you see mirage movement. So they're really trying to play with your mind. I start recording, but my camera turned off in the middle of it. This fat Maori mental health officer who's fully dressed satanic. He had grey, white, long ponytail and clad black. He starts doing all this weird shit behind the psychiatrist's back, trying to offset me. They questioned me about movies that I'd put up on YouTube, and I just kept pretty strong, although I was absolutely rooted. Then the psychiatrist, my mum, and that went inside. This Maori mental health officer came up to me, came in close and said, he shook my hand, he says, well done, you did very well inside your sphere. I couldn't penetrate your sphere. Thinking he's some kind of a wizard or some kind of a mind freak, I don't know. Gave me some threats. He said something about some kind of bigwig family, you need to keep your mouth shut. I don't know, I'm too tired to care. Went into mental health. My friend of 2 years came to my rescue for this period. He said that there were police units blocking off the whole street, and the ambulance was backed into my driveway when they came to get me. They wouldn't let any pedestrians or anyone go